guys. We get asked a lot about how we fill our enrichment toys and bones and Kongs and such. So I figured tonight's the night. I have everything out ready to go, and I want to basically walk you through just casually how I fill our dogs' mental stimulation toys, what we fill them with, how we store them, and kind of the names and brands of the things that we use currently. And I'm excited to show you how to do that. Okay, so first I wanted to show you what the names of the stuff that we use are and a little bit about them. So these are called Lickimats. This is the Lickimat Soother. This is the Lickimat Buddy. They're basically silicone, like rubber mats that you can spread goodies on and freeze, or of course you can do it at room temperature as well. And they just came out with a new product that I'm really excited to have the dogs try. This is a Lickimat Wobble. It's basically a rubber bowl that you can also, it's got rivets, you can also spread some stuff in there and freeze it. I'm really excited to have the dogs try that. Okay, so that's everything in the Lickimat line. You can find all of this online. Everything I'm gonna use you can find online. Some of them you can find at the pet store, but I'm an online shopper. I have to admit it. So I buy pretty much everything online if possible. So you can get all of those online. Okay, now moving on to our rubber stuffable toys. I have a lot of Kongs, but I have another toy as well. So I'll start with the Kongs and tell you a little bit about Kongs in case you are new to this. These are Kongs. Kong Classics is what they call these. They're different kind of hardness of rubber on these. And so I want to go through them all with you. If you see a kind of a powder pink or a powder blue version of the Kong, that is technically for puppies. And that means that the rubber is pretty, you know, movable, and it's a softer version of the rubber, okay? If you see red, this is for average chewers. So the rubber's a little bit harder, but it's still, you know, movable. And then if your dog is a power chewer, then you want to get a black Kong, because that means that the rubber on the Kong's the hardest out of all the Kongs. And then lastly, they have a senior Kong, which I believe is a dark purple color, which I think is similar to the puppy Kong in that the rubber is pretty soft for your senior's mouth and teeth. So they don't, you know, have too hard of a rubber to bite down on. Aside from our Kongs, I have a can toy. I think if you search can toy, this actually comes up. It's very similar to a Kong. You just stuff it and it's awesome. I love this toy. This is probably the one that lasts the longest for Jade. On to our bones. You probably have all seen these little white marrow bones. This one's actually still stuffed or somewhat stuffed. And then when it's not stuffed anymore, I restuff them. So we're gonna definitely stuff these. And I'm also a big fan of Hooves. Again, our dogs don't really chip away at these all that much. They might chew on them for a couple of minutes, but it's not anything that they're gonna, you know, have pieces that they're gonna swallow or big shards that are coming off. Again, depending on your dog, just disclosure with all of these. You have to get what's right for your dog. You have to supervise them, make sure that it's safe for them, and, you know, definitely be cautious depending on how tough of a chewer your dog is and if they ingest things and things of that nature. But that aside, I love Hooves because you can buy a big bag of them. They're fairly inexpensive. And then, of course, you can stuff the insides of them and freeze them. So these are great. I absolutely love those. Now we have our chews. So these little alligators that I absolutely love. These are from Whimzees. And you guys have probably heard me talk about all of these things already, but these are Whimzees. They're technically dental chews, but I did find that one of them, which is the alligator, is, you know, again, hollow and well, it's halved, so, you know, you can still stuff this half. And I definitely want to make sure that I stuff anything possible for the dogs. So when I found out that this side was hollow, this gets stuffed and flattened out, and then this gets put in the freezer as well. And then I have bully sticks. I sometimes put this after I stuff the Kong. This goes inside the Kong like such and then gets frozen, of course. And I also recently discovered a very cool idea for this, which was very similar to when you get those like chocolate dipped pretzel sticks with sprinkles and stuff on them around the holidays. And I basically do that with some of these as well. So that's also a really good one. These are long-lasting chews. They are much, much, much healthier than some of the other chews out there. You want to avoid rawhide and things like that. So I definitely go for the meat sticks because it's safer and more digestible. So I do recommend bully sticks. And they tend to last a pretty decent amount of time depending on the size you get and, again, how your dog chews. So those are all the things that we're gonna stuff. And now I wanna show you kind of what goes in these things and what I stuff it with. One of my favorite things to stuff our toys with is dog food roll. Comes in a roll like this. This one's by RedBarn. I believe we've gotten Natural Balance, RedBarn, Happy Howie's is a great brand as well, but we have RedBarn tonight. So it looks like this. It's usually wrapped almost like pork roll. If you've ever gotten pork roll from the grocery store, it kind of looks like that. This does not need to be refrigerated until you open it. Okay, so this can just stay in the cabinet or on the shelf until you're ready to utilize it. When you take it out of the wrapper, it looks, again, kind of like pork roll, but it's not slimy or anything. So this is what it looks like out of the package. And then after you cut it up, again, it's just kind of little, I break them up into little pieces so I can easily fit them in. Another thing that I stuff all of our Kongs and toys with is wet dog food. Sometimes, you know, I use these every day with our dogs, so if you don't want to do peanut butter every single time that you're giving them something, I like to switch it up. So right now this is Natural Balance, limited ingredient diet, sweet potato and salmon formula. I buy this online as well, and I do spread that and stuff it on some of these as well. One of my all-time favorites, low-fat Greek yogurt. This is probably the healthiest thing out of all of these, but again, if you don't want to do peanut butter every day and things like that, this is a great option. Then you have your good old-fashioned peanut butter, ladies and gentlemen. It's a staple, go with it. And because we also eat peanut butter ourselves, I do label this dog butter. Isn't that cute? Okay, so that's kind of some of our stuffers, but I also top off some of this or layer some of this with treats because of course we have to have treats, duh. Okay, so I love Zukes. I get these all the time. I use these in training all the time. Any of my clients watching this know that I have Zukes all of the time. I do try to use different flavors. So this is chicken, this is rabbit, and then I have, oh my gosh, our dogs love these. This is Full Moon Organic Chicken Jerky, and these are very high value, so I definitely put some of that in there. And then I have just her Old Mother Hubbard original assortment baked dog biscuits. They're small, so I break these up and they go in there as well, so I love that. And that's it for now. I do switch these up, but this is kind of what I had on hand tonight and what's going in them. So let's get to stuffing. Okay, so let's get to stuffing. I have several different spoons just in case, because we have several different kind of liquidy things, the peanut butter, the yogurt, the wet dog food, and I don't want to mix spoons, so I do get a few ahead of time. And so here we go. I'm just going to show you right now what I'm feeling. The fun thing about this is it depends on my mood. I'll fill it with different stuff. So right now I'm going in with the wet dog food first. I'm only going to do half of this because the other half's going to be something else. So you can switch it up. I'm going to do the same thing on the green one. The fun thing about this is you can, you know, kind of make recipes on what your dog likes and almost like a tasting platter, you know, kind of put a couple different things on there and see what they wind up liking more or what they eat first. Okay, little bonus tip, always, always, always use a spoon. A lot of people use a knife for this. They're really tempted to want to spread it like you would a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. The spoon's the best because you can get a decent amount, plop it on, and then with the other side you can spread it much more evenly than with a knife. Now once this is filled, I'm gonna now, especially with the bowl here, because it's still wet, I'm just going to take some of our dog food roll here, and I'm going to kind of push some of the pieces of the dog food roll up against the inside of this bowl. This is great because everything's going to freeze together, and therefore it winds up lasting much longer than at room temperature. So I never give these at room temperature. That's just my preference. I'm going to do a little crumble onto the Lickimats. Okay, now we go in with the yogurt. All right, so we have our Licky Bowls all done. This is Licky Bowl. I do put out a little paper towel line here to kind of put some of the stuff on. There's our Lickimat Soother. And here's our Lickimat Buddy. Now that the Lickimats are done, it's time to fill my favorite, the rubber toys. I have the most fun filling these. I'm not sure why. I think it's because it is more like a recipe that's going on. Almost like you're making a trifle, you know? Like a layering, like a parfait. I don't know, but something like that. So you're gonna take your Kong and you can put your dog's kibble or dry food at the bottom, some treats, some Cheerios. I mean, whatever you guys want. Once the bottom's pretty filled, so basically what I do is I fill the bottom little bubble with something dry. That way the peanut butter or whatever doesn't get down that far or as much. It's easier to clean. So then I go in with our peanut butter or yogurt or wet dog food or pumpkin puree or sweet potato puree or any type of puree, whatever you guys want to do. Now, of course, I'm running low on peanut butter right now. I couldn't find the other jars, so my hand is going to get very disgusting while I do this, but I don't really care. So just beware. So we fill now the middle half with some peanut butter or some other option you guys want to do. And I do tap it. I really want it to go down. I want to pack this in because when I give this to Jade or Freddie, well, Jade definitely gets this one, but when I give this teeny one to Freddie, I want it to last as long as possible. You know, I'm giving it to them to enrich their day and give them some mental stimulation and make their day funner. So, you know, I definitely want to make sure I'm not just putting a tiny teaspoon in there. I want to really pack it in. So once you have a good layer of whatever your base is going to be, I go back in with a couple of the Zukes. Okay, very good. Very nice. And then I top off the top with some more. I'm in the mood to go in with some yogurt on the top. Very nice. So I don't care if it's messy. I kind of want some of what's in the Kong to be spilling out to tempt my dogs to want to start chewing on it, right? So then I go in with the high value, do some chicken jerky in there. Jade loves this. Really good. So again, like an ice cream cone, all set. Now, when I'm done filling the Kongs, I get an old Tupperware bin that I don't care about anymore, that got ruined in the microwave or something, stained from pasta sauce or whatever. Instead of throwing it out, I just use it for our Kongs now. So that gets stood up in there. Time to wash my hands real quick. Okay, on to the next one. I'm gonna go in, use some of our dog food roll again, since it's all chopped up. Very good. Now, when you give your dog stuff like this, some good times to give it to them are when you are watching TV, you're gonna have a guest over, you're just trying to relax, there's fireworks, it's 4th of July, and they need something to keep them preoccupied. I mean, this is a really great thing to have handy for when guests come over, or or literally anytime your dog's gonna be away from you, like if they need to be in their crate for whatever reason for a while. It's just good to have on hand. So again, super messy, I don't care. The yogurt's melting, who cares? This is supposed to be, you know, a little messy. So now we have that. I'm gonna go in with some of the biscuits. Again, on top. Get them to start chewing on it. Put some of the dog food roll on top here again. And then this one's ready to go as well. Lovely. All right, I'm gonna finish the rest of these Kongs. Okay, now our Lickimats and our Kong and rubber toys are now stuffed. They're ready to go in the freezer. Okay, the Lickimats and the Kongs and rubber toys are all in the freezer now. Time to finish up with the bones. I fill these very similar to Kongs, pretty much the same exact way. I take the beef hoof, put some Zukes or training treats in there, fill it with your mushy stuff, whichever one you decide to go with. Level it out off or level it out a little bit. Again, biscuit, piece of jerky, and I push one or two or sometimes more of the Zuke. So again, see that? Now that goes in the freezer as well. So I'm gonna finish these up real quick. Okay, now on to the Whimzees. Again, I'm just gonna toss things in here, level it off with one of our mushy items that we're gonna use, and then put it in the freezer. Okay, now that we're done with all the bones and the hooves and the chews and the dental treats and all that stuff that's here, ready to be put away. Now we're gonna move on to our little holiday inspired pretzel chocolate thingy that reminded me of doing this. So I'm gonna do it and then I'll show you what it looks like. So take bully stick. Actually, I'm not gonna use yogurt for this. It's not sticky enough. You definitely wanna use something sticky. So this one is gonna be peanut butter only. Now, if you have something else that's as sticky as peanut butter, then you can use that. I think even the wet dog food might be fine. But I really, really like the stickiness of the peanut butter. So we're gonna go with that. So again, I just kind of glide it on with the spoon. You don't have to go nuts, but I like to. So there you go. You get it pretty covered, about 50% of the stick. And then you get some of the training treats again, or Cheerios or whatever you got. And then I push a couple in, like so. And it'll stick because the peanut butter is sticky. And then you have a little holiday treat. I don't know why I love this so much, but I definitely do. Definitely like this. I'm gonna stand these up in a cup. So I'll cut to that and I'll let you see. I'll stack them in a little cup. All right, so this is where all the peanut butter covered bully sticks are. And now I'm gonna put all of our bones in my other Tupperware. Now everything goes in the freezer. Woo, all right, we finished everything. I have to clean this counter off, but aside from that, everything's in the freezer and ready to go for our dogs for later tonight or tomorrow. And I'm so glad that you guys joined me for this really long, intensive Kong mental enrichment stuffing session. If you guys found any value from it, please let us know. I'm so excited to share this with you. I hope any, all, some, even one of you gets inspired to buy one of these toys and spend some time filling it with some care and thought to keep your dogs enriched and give them mental stimulation on a daily basis. Bye, guys.